Morning, ma'am. I am Abigail M. Adasa, the reporter for Unit 5, Lesson 20 and Lesson 22. In Unit 1, we learned about how historian works rely heavily on sources. But where do historians find their sources? And if you, a student of history, were to write a historical essay or do historical research, what do they do and where they go? In this lesson, I will be discussing about historical research. Lesson objective. By the end of the lesson, the student will be able to locate relevant sources to do historical research, differentiate the archive, the library, and the internet as repositories of historical sources. Compare and contrast the variety of historical research resources available in these repositories and organize list of appropriate for a proposed historical research. The key concept, Filipiniana, Philippines, related books and non-books materials, catalog, a register of all bibliography items found in a library, search string, a combination of text, numbers, and symbols entered by users in the search engine to find desired results. Paleography, the study of writing system and deepening and dating of historical manuscript. Plagiarism, the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas passing them as one's own. Now let's move on to libraries and archives. We have online public access catalog, National Library of the Philippines, National Archives of the Philippines. So first, we have online public access catalog. It is a digital version which simply search of the subject related topic and it will give you a lot of results. It can be primary sources, secondary sources, to aid you in creating a preliminary bibliography that you may later on access to the library if you will go to the library. Next is the National Library of the Philippines. The National Library of the Philippines in Ermita, Manila provides a rich treasure trove of materials for the students researchers interested in Philippine history, especially in its Filipiniana section. So this National Library of the Philippines has a valuable Resiliana collections, several sets of Blair and Robertson, the Philippine Islands 2493 to 1898, rare Filipiniana rocks, Philippines presidential papers, and others materials that are accessible to the publics, especially to the students. So in National Library we have published articles, books, newspapers, legal documents from the government, and other documents that is professionally published about history. Next is the National Archives of the Philippines. The National Archives of the Philippines, also in Manila, is an agency of the government that is mandated to collect, store, preserve, and make available records of the governments and other primary sources about the history and development of the Philippines. So, in National Archives of the Philippines, it has a record of unique and original documents that are irreplaceable. Which means irreplaceable, hindi na siya pwedeng palitan. Like, hindi siya pwedeng masira because it is the only one copy that they have. So, it's very important and secure. This National Library and Archives of the Philippines the goal is to preserve the history of the Philippines when it comes to papers, objects, documents. Their only goal is to preserve those papers and publish books. Now we have university libraries are also accessible to the public. First is we have UP Diliman in Quezon City, Ateneo de Manila in Quezon City, University of Santo Tomas in España, Manila. We also have the Family History Center of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Shinkin Sea Memorial Library, Case Anglican Heritage Center, the Archdiocesan, I'm not sure the pronunciations, my bad, Archive in Manila. So, these are the library that we can visit here in the Philippines. Next is the internet, a simply skills that will get you for in doing circle research online is knowing where to look and how to look. So in this, the internet it is the easy way to look to find sources when you're researching history or any kind of research. So we have search engine website. We have www.yahoo.com, www.google.com, www.scholar.google.com. Website that is legally used to download scanned copies books, especially those books with expired copyrights and are in public domain. Project Gutenberg, www.gutenberg.org, has more than 6,000 items collections, such as the Doctrina Christiana. Internet Archives, www.archives.org. This contains 279 billion web pages, 11 million books and text, 4 million audio records, 3 million videos, 1 million images, and 100,000 software programs. We also have Philippine government's website, which is www.gov.ph, the official's gazette, www.officialgazette.gov.ph, the National Library of the Philippines, www.nlp.gov.ph. So the difference between the National Library of the Philippines, the archives of the Philippines, and the internet is that when it comes to documents, the more, I mean, yung pinakamalaking cover, yung pinaka-importante or have the most important content is the archives of the Philippines, because I've mentioned that it has evidence and documents from the past, especially in Spanish era. They also have a unique and original copies of documents. Examples, often they have fragile papers that they really they really preserve so that it can help for the future researcher and to preserve the history of what Philippines have. And also these three sources that we can go to find history, different sources of history, is that it is not easy to access. The National Library you can visit personally and can have, scan or find your related topics that you want to find. But the archives of the Philippines is very strict, because they have really important things that inside the library or the archives of the Philippines. So you have to get an appointment before you directly enter. While the internet, it is very easy to access because we only need internet to access, and then we can find different results given. And when it comes to authenticity and reliability, the higher is always the archives of the Philippines, knowing that they have original copies. And the also example is law that is signed by treaty, and also the this three is very this three can help us to find can help us to find sources for our research, different kind of research. We can like history, especially history or other research that we need sources. We can go to these all libraries here in the Philippines. Next is avoiding plagiarism. So in avoiding plagiarism, it means to not be plagiarized when you are trying to do your research. It is very important to remember these things that I've included. So first I will read the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines to plagiarize as to steal and pass of the ideas or words to another as one's own use, another productions without crediting the sources. So if you don't want to be plagiarized, you have to put your sources of where did you take that information so that you will not be plagiarized. To remember, cite your sources always. Of course, you have to cite your citations, your reference, to credits the original owners of that source, the publishers, the author. Next is add citation with preferred citation style. You can use you can use MLA, APA, and Chicago style, but the most commonly used is APA. Next is use quotations work if you are going to insert your sources words to your work verbatim. Paraphrase or write the ideas or information using your own words. It is very important to use your own words so that it will not look like you just taken from everything of that source that you find. It is very important to cite your sources, your reference. It's because so that your reader will know where did you take that sources they need to if they need to find your sources, they can access of that reference. Also, to be your paper credible, because since you cite your sources, your paper is credible. That's all my report. Thank you.